All right, welcome to this technology little tidbit I'm going to give you on the TI-84 and 83 calculators to enter data in, look at box plots, and look for outliers. So what you want to do first, whether you have whichever calculator you have, 83 or 84, press your stat button, go to edit, and let's say you got a set of data. This is a class set of student heights. Some of them are true, some of them are made up. And our goal is to be able to look at that data and look at a graph, determine outliers, and figure out some basic statistics. So you're going to go in. First of all, if you already have data entered in L1, maybe you did some for a different class or for a different problem, I wouldn't bother erasing your memory. Go to the top of your list, make sure it's highlighted, press the clear button, press enter, and it's gone. So let's enter our data in and be very careful as you do it. Whether you have a TI-83 or TI-84 calculator, all is going to be the same. So let me do it here first. It's actually harder to type on the 84s than it is the 83. The buttons are a little bit trickier. Always look at your calculator while you're typing in. I know that seems common sense, but a lot of people will randomly be typing what they think is the right thing, and then when they look down at their calculator, none of that got typed or the wrong buttons got pushed. That could be problematic because that's a big time suck, and especially if you're taking a test that's timed, that's a big drain on your resources there. There should be 35 data points. If you're doing this with me, you can double check at the bottom. It says L1 in parentheses 35. I'm going to do this over here too, and watch how much easier it is on an 83. The buttons don't click, and I think that's the big deal here. I say that after making a typo. So I don't know which one was faster. If you want to time, you can, but there should be 35 data points in either way. And you might say to yourself that 77, 78 are outliers, and it's very possible they are, right? And we have ways mathematically to calculate that to see if they are. But in terms of just using your technology to help you with that, what you can do is you can go to your stat menu, go to calc, go to one variable stats, go down to calculate, and it'll list remember the x bar is the mean, the S of x is the sample standard deviation, and then if you scroll down, you can see the rest. So n is 35 data points, the min, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, and max, which we've gone over in class. That's your 5-number summary, and that's what you use to make your box plot. We can do that on here too. So you're going to press stat, calc, enter. It's not going to give you a list to type things in. You just press enter again. All the same data that was on there, just not color-coded, that's all. So now to get the box plot, you're going to do second y equals and press enter and turn your plot on. There are two types of box plots that your calculator will display. It'll do the one that is factoring in outliers. So it'll have if there's any outliers on either the left or the right side, it'll have dots representing those data points that are outliers. So the whisker will be cut off to wherever the highest or lowest value that doesn't include the outliers is. So that's the one you want to use. Then you're going to do zoom 9. That's important because you want to be able to see it on here. If you just press graph, then you don't know what your window is adjusted. This automatically adjusts it to stat. So you're going to use zoom 9 all the time. Now the last component of it is if you hit trace, you can see that 5-number summary, the min 60, Q1 64, and I'm just pressing the right arrow to go on to the next one, Q3 68. Notice that x equals 72 isn't part of your 5-number summary. It's just the highest number before you hit the 2 outliers. So 77 is an outlier and 78 is an outlier. Now, if you ignore the outliers, the graph is roughly symmetric. And the outliers are going to pull that graph a little bit skewed to the right. So you can still see the skewness of it, but you can also see where the general amount of the data is. Just so you know that that whisker will be pulled all the way to the right if you utilize that one. So zoom 9. But that's not really meaningful because we want to be able to represent those outliers. Same thing on the TI-83. Your data's in here. You're going to do second y equals. Press enter twice to turn your stat plot on. You want to do the box plot with the dots on the outside. Press enter. And then you're going to hit zoom 9. And you can still trace through it. Min, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, 60, 72 being just the next value, and then 77 is your first outlier, 78 is your max, and your last outlier. And you can change the graph too. So that may have been tedious to enter in all 35 of those data points. I can show you, if you don't need to stick around for this unless you really want some extra shortcuts that I can show you. But what I a lot of times do, if I remember, I don't always remember, is I'll just type in the numbers once, and we're going to utilize something called frequency lists. So these are all the numbers displayed just one time. What you do is you go over to L2 and you type in how many of those numbers there are. So we have 160, 161, 262s, 363s, 464s, 565s, 466s, 467s, 368s, 269s, 170, 271s, 172, 177, and 178. So frequency lists are, you got to remember a couple steps when you do them, okay? So if I do stat, calc, one variable stats, now if you have an 83, hold on, I'll show you how to do it there too. Frequency list has to be filled in. Well, you have to put in L2. So you can get L2 by doing second 2. And that's going to basically say how many of each heights there are. So if I go down to calculate, it'll still give me the same data. It'll still give me that mean, standard deviation. Scroll down, it's going to give you the 5-number summary. Those look a little bit different, so I'm thinking I messed up somewhere. So let me just double check. I put 9 instead of 2. I was wondering about that. So it's 269s. Let's try that again. So stat, it's easy to make mistakes on here. There we go. We got 35 numbers there. You got your mean, your standard deviation, and there's your 5-number summary displayed correctly. And you can still do a box plot on here, but you gotta also, for frequency, you have to type in second L2 for that. I'm pretty sure that's what you want to do. And do zoom 9. And let me change the box plot. I think I got the wrong box plot. I sure do. So zoom 9, and there it is. So you can use frequency list on there. On the 83, when you're doing it, You're going to go to stat, calc, one variable stats. Oops, let me clear this out first. 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. If you don't have a TI-83, you don't have to stick around. This is just for those that want a guidance on here. So you just type your number in once and type how many of each one there are. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. So that should be right. So how you're going to do this is you're going to do stat, calc, one variable stats, but don't press enter, okay? So what you do is you do second L1, so that's second one, and then you do a comma, and then you do second two. Not as user-friendly, but it'll still do the job. It'll still give you the information on here with all the right numbers. Just put a comma in there, and then remember you got to do second L1 for list 1, that's the main list, comma, second 2 for list 2, that's the frequency list. That's always going to be in that order. And then you can box plot it. If you go to turn the box plot on, your X list is going to be L1, second one. Your frequency should be L2. And then you do zoom 9 again. And there's your box plot. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. You have a good day.